Now I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat that this is a serious video. And I'm a very lighthearted person. And like I've mentioned in my last video, there's a lot of different vibes on this channel. We don't need to be fixed. We don't need to be a fixed identity. That's right in the channel description. However, there comes a time when you realize it's do or death out here. And it's time to get serious. So this video is specifically for those men who are serious about semen retention, about living an aesthetic lifestyle, about living a life with discipline, not being controlled, not being enslaved by your lower energies. And I make this video in a serious manner because I haven't slept for several days. And I don't say that to pat myself on the back, but that's part of our animal, right? That's part of our lower nature, part of the root chakra. What are the four aspects of our animal side, our ego, our lower nature? Fear-based emotions, sleep, sex, and eating. That's our animal, and plain and simple. And I haven't slept for a couple days, so naturally I'm kind of more in the root chakra. I feel my life energy, sexual energy, kundalini, shakti, power, divine energy, whatever you want to call it. I feel it right now strongly in the root chakra. And although I'm going to sleep really well tonight, right now, I'm not asleep right now. I'm wide awake, and I make this video for that reason, because a lot of the videos on this channel are very feminine. They come from the feeling side of me. We all have both those aspects. Check out a couple videos ago where I mentioned the power of feminine discipline, because they're interrelated. You can't separate the masculine and the feminine. It's not about gender. It's not male and female. It's not about private parts. You know, there's a lot of confusion out here. That's why it's good to have discrimination. That's why it's good to have discernment, to see through the seeming confusion. There's really no confusion. It's very clear. And once you commit to semen retention in certain disciplines, you're going to be very lucid. You're going to see very clearly. The light is going to flow to and through you. It's going to express through you, and it's going to be apparent to others. It's not going to be something you have to try to impose upon others. It's just going to flow naturally, because you're going to be and feel abundantly. You're going to feel that sense of abundance within you continuously, consciously. You're going to operate through life and walk through life in a conscious manner, in a sometimes serious manner, because that's what it takes. You know, life can be fun and games, but like I said, there comes a certain point where you realize it's really do or die out here. And you, comparatively, that's part of our animal, right? To compare and contrast without judgment. It's observation. You're observing the world, observing the people around you, taking in data, taking in information, right? So that we can become the knowledge that we want to see, bring forth, and manifest, and ultimately to discover within ourselves that which is the source of existence, right? What is our source? There comes a point when you realize you can only accumulate so much information. You can read all the books in the world. You can, label all the stars in the sky, but there's only so much you can realize that way, by trying to analyze and intellectualize and trying to accumulate information. There comes a point where you realize you really have to go within. You can do the circuit. You can do the world trip. You can go around the globe. You can do that many times. But there comes a point when you see clearly, when you see lucidly, that you realize you really have to go within. That's what every spiritual teacher, that's what anybody who's serious about spiritual endeavor, and we don't even have to give it the label spiritual, it's really becoming familiar with our inner nature. It should be common sense. There's that aspect of every human intelligence. It's one intelligence, individualized in many different forms and expressions and bodies. We are not the body. We are all the same fundamental intelligence. And this intelligence is a conscious power. It's an awareness. It's an abundance. It's in everything. It's in all that is. It's in all-knowing infinite intelligence. And this intelligent infinity, expressed as you and me, continuously, eternally, even after the form that we shed, this body, when this perishes, that energy can't be created nor destroyed. It's not destroyed. It's transformed. What is it transformed into? We don't know. But one thing we can be sure of is that that energy pattern persists. That's what we can call karma, or the cycle of reincarnation. Now, I'm not pretending to know everything, by all means. But part of this channel, the intention behind it, it serves as an expression, an emanation of that which I've subjectively realized. It's a sharing of my inner world and my inner reality, and an objectification of that, so that this can live on after this physical form is gone. Because it's much bigger than us. It's much bigger than the personality. It's about a sense of unity, and about building a world where we can all operate in harmony. The law of harmony, that supersedes even the law of karma. If we really think about it, we think deeply, it's only natural that we're going to continue to, our energy pattern that is transcendent to the body, beyond our physicality. You could say it's more psychological, and it's even beyond the mind, really. We can think in terms of layers or sheets or bodies, like the ancient yoga systems, or different conceptual models throughout the ancient traditions and ancient cultures and religions, which are all pointing to the same fundamental truth, that the source of heaven is within you, that the source of everything, give it whatever label you want to call it, God, whatever religion you want to call it, they're all pointing to the same thing. So, and I particularly like the yoga system, where it talks about different bodies, or different sheets, different layers, different auras. So we have our physicality, which is very grounded and kind of connected to this earthly reality, right? More of our animality, animal nature, a lower nature, connected to the earth. And when this body perishes, we're not taking an atom with us. Every single atom goes back to the earth. So we can eat all we want, we can gluttonize and accumulate all the physical substance, but Mother Earth is taking all that back. We're not taking any of it with us when we transform into the next life, we could say. It's eternal life. It's not a next life. It's all one life. But as far as our individual soul is concerned, we really want to think outside the box, beyond the matrix, we could say. Beyond what may be considered normal or common sense, which is really... may not be so common, what I'm talking about, although it's gonna be as time goes on, as people get survival taken care of naturally. Like I was saying, there's that part of our intelligence, the aspect of our intelligence that wants to seek and explore consciousness, that which we are. Our fundamental nature wants to explore the inner realms, wants to go within and find the being, find the beingness, find the source intelligence, and not just be outwardly directed. And, you know, there comes a point also when you realize that the transitory, temporary, ephemeral, temporal, worldly desires can only satisfy it so much. It's a passing pleasure. It's a passing happiness. We want eternal bliss, and that's to be found within. The bliss is within you. It's within me. It's within everybody. It's within that source energy, that divine energy. You could say sexual energy. You want to think in terms of energy, frequency, vibration. But anyways, looping back. The sheets, the auras. We have our physicality, which is related to our animality, our root chakra. Then beyond that, we could say we have our mental body, which may be a little bit more out. And beyond that, our energy body, more expanded. Then beyond that, our etheric body, which is connected to the right hemisphere of the brain. Those who are more interested in less stimulation, maybe meditation, semen retention, certain feminine practices, more interested in peace and living a life of stillness and bliss and eternal happiness, as opposed to excessive stimulus and excitement and the allurement of worldly enticements and distractions, ultimately. Because we can't take money with us when the body goes back to Mother Earth. We can't take any of the passing pleasures with us. But you best believe that our actions, our intentions, our thoughts, that which affects our mental body and our energy body, is connected to our etheric body and our bliss body, and ultimately our life energy, that's going to persist after the physical form perishes. So we can contextualize this earthly experience ultimately as a learning experience, as a platform for realization and many different opportunities to grow soul evolution, our individual personal evolution, because there's always that element of individuality, although we're all connected ultimately. There's that sense of unity, that fundamental oneness, of course. That source intelligence is not just within humans, it's within everything. And you realize this once you start to go within. But we want to think of this earthly experience as a learning experience. As human experience, we can consider ourselves lifetime students, and the whole world can be your classroom. And I was looping back also, you could say, when we're comparing ourselves to other people, not judgmentally again, I reiterate that, but just to observe. And we can, I'm sure I didn't coin this, but, it's a thought that I've came up with a while ago, or try to precisely define an original thought. That's one to think about, right? But a thought that arose in consciousness that I thought was pretty original, like I didn't hear from anybody before, is constructive comparison. Comparing yourself in a way by which you are not destructive, or there's no self-condemnation or self-judgment. It's a form of acceptance and gratitude. That kind of comparison, like comparing yourself to the guy in the wheelchair, putting things in a certain context, comparing yourself to people in Africa that are starving, that don't have shelter. An expanded, we won't say awareness, but an expanded context, which in a sense is awareness, because awareness is connected to our sense of context, because our ego is more focused on form, focused on the worldly experience, focused on matter, focused on content, as opposed to context. Now there's a big difference. There's a paradigm shift. That's the thinking with the left analytical logical brain, the scientific brain that wants to pick apart and dissect the world, and then evolving to operating more from the feminine, our right hemisphere, the etheric brain, that source of powerful energy, that eternal energy that's continually flowing into the body, into the medulla oblongata, the most important part of the whole human body, because that's where the energy of God is flowing into us eternally. Really look into this. It's powerful. There are certain things like fasting can really help you witness this within yourself. It's not just intellectual. You feel it. There's a buzzing sensation in your head. You feel that pure, potent, and powerful energy within you, expressing as you. There's no separation. It is you. You identify with it because it's so powerful within you. It's that sense of abundance. And when you fast and practice semen retention long term, and you meditate and focus on that, there's that clear, open connection with spirit. And there's no sense of separation. You feel it. You are it. So we really want to be serious. There comes a point, and again, we can joke and we can have fun and we can look at the world as again look at some of the vibes on this channel. I throw one of them down below in the description. The world is a circus. We can see the world as humorous. We can have fun with it. We can switch up the vibe. We don't have to be a fixed identity. We don't have to identify as a rigid personality, whether it be stuck within the box of religion or a certain creed or a nationality or whatever it may be. We're not fundamentally those things. Yes, we have relationships. I'm going to say have relationships. Yes, we enjoy relations with other people in the world. Of course, it's part of the human experience. We all have that element within us, that social element that wants to share ourselves with the world and wants to connect with other people. But ultimately, there comes a point where you realize through discrimination what is its attraction and what is a hindrance, an obstacle to inner realization, to self-realization, to self-actualization, to realize your infinite identity, your eternal relationship with intelligent infinity, that which we are fundamentally. Many different ways to describe it. There's many different, words are very powerful because they're an emanation of that source energy. The language of God is vibration and frequency. We really want to understand this. It's not just some hocus pocus. It is, in a sense, very serious. And I say this at the same time very sincerely. Now, looping back to what I was saying about the left and right hemispheres, Sirius could be considered masculine, right? And then sincerity, authenticity, truthfulness, gentleness, lovingness, acceptance. Those are all feminine qualities, very important. We want both of these aspects to be operating in harmony. Of course, there's a logical element too. We don't want to negate or reject that aspect of ourselves because that's very important to function in the world and to navigate the earthly reality, to set our compass in a direction that's of an integrous trajectory. Because ultimately, like I was saying, this earthly experience is a learning experience. And we want to think beyond the body because after this physical form perishes, that energy pattern that we are, our intentions, our actions, our thoughts, our deeds, our emotions, that pattern persists after the body. And our soul energy, we could say, that spiritual reality is of a timeless trajectory. Timeless. The physical form is only a certain amount of time and energy in this body. But after the body, there's, of course, other worlds or other realities or whatever. We can start talking about purgatory and heaven and hell and all this stuff. And, of course, we only know what's in our own experience. And some of us could say and argue, this world is either heaven or hell or purgatory or the different dimensions that we're all experiencing individually. And that's why this world, this three-dimensional reality is relative in a sense. But there's that aspect of infinite intelligence which is beyond all relativities, beyond all worldly identities, beyond this worldly reality entirely. Transcendent to it. It's a sense of pure transcendence. Stillness. Absolute stillness. Pure consciousness. Pure essence. That which we need to take serious because that is our source within us. Connected to our energy body. Connected to our sexual energy. Our kundalini energy. Our Shakti. Our divine feminine energy. Connected to our etheric brain. That energy flowing into the medulla oblongata in the right hemisphere of the brain, that which the modern education system, the establishment system, teaches us out of that. They have us focusing on our logical, masculine, analytical brain. That's why much of the world is overly masculine, overly intellectual, overthinking nowadays. They're polarized to the root chakra, the masculine, very connected to the earth, dissecting the world and analyzing it. And thus, if they go on persisting like this, they may not discover that source intelligence. Of course, each and every one of us is able to do this. There's always the capacity to discover the different inner realities in each and every human entity. Thus, we're blessed to be humans. To be afforded and awarded a human form is rare indeed. And even as the Buddha said, to even hear of enlightenment, that's a true blessing. But to actually search it, and to pursue it, to seek it, to seek the truth, not just to know about it, but to be it, to know it for yourself, to become it, which is different from knowing about it, being it, embodying it, we could say, becoming that which we all really deeply yearn to discover within, no matter how much we may be caught up in the outward earthly reality. It is, of course, a part of the human experience. We need not neglect that aspect, but we can live a life of balance and maturity, realize our spiritual abundance and energy, and at the same time share that with the world, the three-dimensional reality. We can understand the difference, not just conceptually, but we can know it experientially, subjectively, eternally, that we're eternal spiritual beings, having a human experience. And we won't even say having, enjoying, because again, having is very rooted in that animal aspect, our animality. You know, we really want to focus on our personal evolution, go from having, being to doing. Again, check out the last video. I'll put a link in the description. Definitely more of a feminine feel, less of a serious vibe. But some guys, some people will only take you seriously if they feel that energy, if they see that you can be serious. Thus, I express this. Again, to reiterate, we need not be a fixed identity. That is key. We can live and operate with a sense of flexibility. And again, that's being and operating from our inner femininity. We can be both, masculine and feminine, simultaneously, because both are operating in, again, I reiterate, in full force and in proper balance. These life energies, the Inga and the Pingala, like the two snakes going up the spine to the top of the head. What do you think that symbolizes? Somebody our day said, "Hey, I like your ring." I said, "Hey, I like yours. It's on the same finger." She had an elephant on her ring finger. Tell me about her daughter and her husband. I said, "Yeah, mine represents celibacy." She's like, "Oh, really? Interesting." You know, not everybody. I just say, not a lot of people are living, you know, kind of an aesthetic sort of lifestyle. I don't label myself as such. You know, we can just to kind of conceptualize it and bring it down a notch, you know, so people can understand it. But really, it's more of a continuous subjective experience, an eternal experience. You want to understand that eternity is not something that happens after we die. It's right now. This is it. And when you really understand this, you understand it's do or die. And you understand that, wow, I'm going to start taking this serious. Because, again, you start to look around. You start to say, wow, some people are really down in the dumps. And I'm sure you felt that too. You've been there yourself. I know I have. And I know the difference. And once you realize the difference, you understand the contrast by comparison. Not even comparing yourself to other people, but comparing yourself to your own experience. You know, how far you came and where you were. And wow, I used to be here. And once you understand the contrast, you never want to go back. Once you bury that old sucker, The old you could say, once you evolve past that, once you become a better version, you never even, you don't look back. You don't even want to think about that unless it's constructive comparing. Again, think, wow, being grateful how far I've came. And it's not by really any personal effort. It's only by grace. We can eliminate that whole sense of personal will entirely through a sense of surrender. And certain practices can help us do this. Getting in tune with the feminine, surrendering, seeing attention, fasting, meditating. These practices I'm going to keep mentioning because they're very important. Not just for men, for everybody. Because we both genders, there's that sense of unity. We both have the masculine and feminine within us. And we both genders want them operating at full force and in proper balance. Forget all the societal nonsense. See through the confusion. This transgender bullshit. All these distractions. And, there's some people out here that may be afraid of offending. Oh, it's not socially correct. Well, you know what? Those kind of people are not only not confident, but also they're not even sure themselves. They're not even in a space mentally where they're confident with their own inner knowing and their own subjective experience, because they're so focused on, what other people think and what the world thinks and what's right and what's socially correct and all this nonsense, which really only has to do with this temporary earthly experience. It has nothing to do with our subjective eternal reality or subjectivity, which is divinity. That is the reality. Reality with a big R. You could say the worldly reality, the 3D reality, the tangible physical reality of form and matter, time and space. That is reality with a small r. But we really want to understand that there is different dimensions to this human experience. That which is, we could say, even beyond human. Yes, there's other dimensions. How can you even look up in the sky and not ponder, not think, I wonder what else is out there. I wonder what kind of other entities there could be. Even just thinking in hypotheticals. We don't have to pretend we know. You don't have to see something and think, oh, I know there's alien species, this and that. Again, we only know what's in our own experience. That's just being honest. We don't want to go off somebody else's back. We can learn from that. We can take in information and, that can get us stir our thinking. But ultimately, we want to put it to the test. We want to become the knowledge that we seek. We all have that seeking element within us. But there comes a point when you're in tune with this eternal intelligence, this infinite intelligence, where there's no more seeking. Because there's a sense of connection eternally. Again, as I said a couple videos ago, we want to live for the eternal. We don't want to squander our life energy and sever that connection. We want to be in that perpetually. We want to be in constant communion with the Lord. We don't need a secluded place. We don't need special time away. Because we're always one with the Lord. We're always one with that intelligence. We're always one with nature. All that's around us, which is not separate from this intelligence. Of course, that intelligence is intrinsic to nature, is intrinsic to our physicality, and all that is expressing around us. But ultimately, it's transcendent to it. It's beyond it. It's beyond this whole three-dimensional experience, although it's expressing as it simultaneously. And that's the seeming paradox. It can seem, for those polarized to the intellectual, analytical, logical mind, to read between the lines, to see the infinite nuances in varying degrees of complexities. But at the same time, we want to think in terms of simplicity, because ultimately the truth is very simple, although there may be infinite degrees of complexity that we can explore mentally. And that's very satisfying to do. And hence why I'm on here, exploring certain concepts with you. And I hope you enjoy this. If you do, feel free to comment, subscribe. It's not why I'm on here. To be honest, I don't say this in a cocky way. I swear. Pride in the Bible, it's a spirit of Leviathan. We want to understand that aspect of ourselves too, that aspect of our animality, pride, that emotion. A lot of people think it's a good thing. A lot of people in society think being prideful, being, full of yourself, that's a good thing. But really, we want to understand the difference. Again, discernment, discrimination between pride, arrogance, and confidence. Big difference. Big difference. Pride is actually very vulnerable. It's a lack of true confidence because it's subject to other people's approval. Whereas true confidence doesn't need other people's acceptance, or it doesn't need other people's approval. It's not trying to impose anything on people. It's not trying to force its ways on people. It doesn't need other people's acceptance. Of course, it appreciates it. So, I appreciate you. If you like, comment, subscribe, that's great. That's not why I'm on here. Quite frankly, I really couldn't care less if, if you do or not. But, and I say that not in a cocky way. See, this is the thing. There's so many different, there's infinite degrees of, you could say, complexity, nuances, but also infinite ways to interpret any given situation, any thing that is said. It's based on one's level of perception or one's level of awareness, how they interpret a certain sentence. And even just the interpretation of one sentence or even a couple words can ultimately determine one's destiny. If they get fixed on that and they think that's it, if they think, this is how it is, and they identify with that, even just one sentence can really do a whole flip on somebody's whole earthly reality. So we want to understand and explore that aspect of our subjectivity and our mental reality so that we can gain a better understanding of ourselves, because ultimately that's the great work. That's really the great work. We can, do a lot of great work in the world, but really the true great work is going within, because our personal evolution is uplifting the whole world. We focus on discovering our source intelligence and going within instead of seeking. I heard a song today. It's it brought me back a little bit. It's Hall & Oates. It's like, money can't get you too far. Money can't get you too far. It got me saying, it's like, it really can't, because you can't take that with you. So you can get to a certain point where, you realize seeking without can only go so far. You can accumulate all the money in the world. We all know this. There's a lot of people that are, rich, famous, whatever. Look at their lives. They're in rubbish. It's like garbage. They're walking around living embodiment of garbage, trash. What they put into their body, the lack of purity, not just physically but also mentally, and just the kind of lifestyle. And I'm not saying not everybody's rich and famous is like that, but there's a lot of people that really lack true happiness. So this, and that's what the song Hotel California is about too. About the illusory happiness that this world promises to offer. You could say the adversary. Give it many different names, but that which is, you could say, in opposition to this source intelligence within us. You could say the God of this world. Now we're getting into some stuff which, we could shed light on some negative aspects of this tangible reality. We could start talking about other dimensional forces and different entities and energies, and we could start talking about the demonic, which is not just hocus pocus. Again, it's not some new age stuff. This is some timeless knowledge, but I'm not going to get into that for several different reasons. Maybe at a certain point on this channel, as the channel evolves in information, as it, I wouldn't say evolves, but as it increases in content, maybe there'll come a certain point where I feel inclined to share what I know about the other side, so to speak, right? Because, there's that ultimate, we could say, battle of good and evil. There's that friction, right? What will be the incentive, the purpose for a positive entity, somebody who is living in harmony and in purity, to live if they're really detached from the earthly reality, if they didn't have a sense of purpose, and where would that sense of purpose come from if there wasn't kind of that friction, if there wasn't kind of that opposition, right? So there's a lot of things that we can think about, and I'm sure there's at least one concept in this video that you can contemplate on, and there's a lot of, it all comes full circle because there's a lot of other YouTube channels that have stimulated my mind in a way, and I say my mind, I don't identify with the mind, because ultimately we're the awareness that is aware of the mind. It's beyond the mind. It's a space, a silent, timeless space that is aware of the thoughts as they arise, but we can explore that intellectual aspect of our human experience in a way by which we really go deep and, again, explore the infinite complexities. And it can be very intellectually stimulating, but we don't want to rely on that. We don't want to become dependent on that. We don't want to feel like we have to read, we have to accumulate certain information, because we want to be in balance, again, maturity. And we want not just the feminine and masculine energies be operating at full force and proper balance within us, but we also want to be and understand, aware of the other energies operating all around us in the cosmos, and that which we're connected to, that which is all around us. This energy, this cosmos, which is energy, is something to be felt, is something to be aware of continuously. And we won't even say observed, which could be, there's a slight nuance difference between being aware and observing. Being alert, we can, describe it many different ways, but it's getting up there in time. Only time is now, right? That's why I say meditate. Realize this. Wherever you are, you'll be one with the Lord. You don't need separate time for communion. You don't need to go to church on Sundays. Of course you can, and you can enjoy it, and you can commune with your fellow man. If that's what, floats your boat, that's what you want to do, that's great. Nothing wrong with that. Some of us may think we need that, and that's wonderful. Again, we all have that social element. Some of us may rely on it more than others, and that's okay. This channel serves as, that me reaching out and extending my feelers out into the world and connecting with the world. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you vibe with it. If you do, again, shoot me a like, comment, subscribe. And cool, fancy, whatever. Whatever label. Love you guys, I do. It's not personal. It's something that you become, really. It's an energy. Something that you just want to share because you feel abundantly. Your cup's overflowing. You get to a certain point where it's like, man, I got so much energy. I just got to express somehow. So, this channel serves as a tangible expression or extension of that energy that seeks to expand and yearns to grow and evolve that energy which is within all. So it started off very, very serious and very masculine, and it kind of ended on a feminine note, right? So it just all wrapped up in this one video. Goes to show, we can be flexible, we can be fluid, we can be in tune with the water element. We can rise from that Earth's root chakra frequency and rise up to the water frequency, right? And the fire frequency, and the air frequency. Different peoples, not just ancients, but even a lot of modern people are becoming aware of these different frequencies within themselves, these different elements, these different chakras, all different words pointing to the same thing, energy. And basically frequency within ourselves that we can realize subjectively. These different states of consciousness. Beta, gamma, alpha, theta. These different frequencies. That's a key word. Frequency. I'll say it a million times. We all know that famous line, Nikola Tesla. want to understand the secret to the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. What do you think we are? What do you think this is? What do you think the whole cosmos is? This universe. It's one sound. We're all singing our song. What kind of song are you singing? I made a video about that. We're all walking, breathing, singing, living, being. That's the key. We want to start with being. Again, check out last video. We don't want to. I'll put a link in the description. Check those out too. I make description on every video. I think they're, I personally wouldn't make it if I didn't think it, wasn't relevant and providing some sort of value to the channel and to the videos and some sort of context that could stimulate that intellectual element again and provide a different perspective or a helpful perspective for people to think beyond the box. And so check out the descriptions because I put some time into those. So I'll put a link in the last video in the description where I said don't inverse the order of operations. You start with being. We're human beings after all, not human havings. Start with being, and then naturally we'll do what us as an extension of nature, what that source intelligence within us naturally wants to do. We'll fulfill our purpose, God's purpose, fulfill the will of God's plan for us. We each have a divine design that we're here to realize, a certain pattern that we're here to realize, the divine pattern, be in tune with certain ideas to open ourselves up to different states of mind and higher frequencies so that we can access different spaces of consciousness and realize our divine plan. And it's beyond personal. We identify not with the content, but we identify with the field, that which is the content is expressing from, that which encompasses everything, that which connects everything. There's no separation. So we identify with the field, not the content of the field, not the forms, not the different expressions. Not without a sense of separation. We see everything as one emanation of the one intelligence, the one source, that one awareness, which is aware of everything. Every living entity has, we wouldn't say has, but really is that awareness. The joy of awareness is intrinsic to every living entity, not just humans. And it's beyond emotionality. It's beyond the emotions. It's beyond that side of us, beyond our animal nature. Of course, there's higher emotions too, linked to what we could say our higher mind, our higher intelligence, our etheric brain, our right side of the brain, our right hemisphere, the feminine side of the brain, which again, the establishment school system trains us out of. We could say purposefully. We could get into the whole, some conspiracy theories, which really aren't conspiracies, and a lot of people are starting to wake up to the fact that, I'm not going to get into this again. I could start talking about a lot of stuff, but anyways, yeah, it can go off on many different tangents. There's plenty of time to think deeply. Really want to go within and explore inner reality, our subjectivity. That's the most important. Of course, we all have our worldly role, our worldly purpose, play our part in this divine drama, this glorious game, this divine circus, this glorious circus. Again, I'll put a link in the description of that video to help you understand. We can be humorous, and not always have to be so serious, but there comes a certain point where we really want to be serious. And I say that with a smile, but I'm serious about it. You can smile seriously. You can sincerely be serious. At the same time, again, we can simultaneously be masculine and feminine. There need no be discrimination in a sense that divides, but at the same time, you can realize the difference between certain material elements so that we can navigate this earthly experience in a way that we see through the confusion, we see with clarity, see beyond illusion, see beyond the illusion of time, space, and matter. To realize that we are timeless, infinite awareness, and that is our identity. A timeless stillness, which is ultimately ineffable and beyond all labels. It's always with us. It's always here right now. No matter what we're doing, where we are, whether in this life or the next, it's eternal. It's an eternal intelligence. And we want to think of the word God in terms of intelligence. It's an indescribable intelligence beyond all imagination, beyond anything that we can possibly conceive. It's beyond the mind. It's transcendent to the mind. It makes the mind, the human mind, look like, we won't even say an ant, because an ant is just observe an ant. If you with a certain keenness of attention is key, absolutely fundamental. Not only in this earthly reality, but in our spiritual subjectivity, that reality. Our ability to focus and keenly concentrates. And we won't even say concentrates. We can say meditate. We can understand the nuance between those. Meditation is all-inclusive. It includes everything. There's no sense of separation. Concentration excludes. It's focusing on one thing. But if we concentrate on the ant, and at the same time we meditate on it, there's that sense of connection, but we're kind of shutting out the world and really focusing on the ant, we'll realize that it is really a profound intelligence. We won't even label it, because we're not thinking of it as an ant. We're not labeling it. We're just simply witnessing it as it is, because there's that aspect of our consciousness, that which we are consciousness, all one consciousness, no separate consciousness, no separate minds. We're all the fundamental mind, but of course, a lot of us think of ourselves in terms of the body, or identify with certain mental aspects or elements, and thus create that sense of separation and disunity. So we think we're separate minds, but really we're ultimately the same source intelligence. And again, I'm going to really focus on the sense of unity, because it's important. Because, when that feminine aspect, that third eye is opened and awakened, decalcified within us, then we see through the confusion, see through the illusion of separation. And we see through limitation, breaking limitations. Again, at the beginning of the video, I was talking about how I hadn't slept in several days, and that's part of our animal nature. And that's breaking limitations. That's breaking certain childhood conditionings that says we need to sleep for 8 hours to function optimally. I haven't slept for over 2 days, and I'm making this video. I'm on the flow, just, expressing, didn't even really know what I was going to say, kind of had somewhat of a vague idea, but just said, Lord, express through me what you want to say. Realize the water is extremely intelligent substance. We don't even have to call it water. How you treat water and how water behaves within you is really going to determine a lot, and how you experience this earthly reality. And that's why we want to be as conscious as possible. Not just when consuming something, but with everything. With every interaction. Understand that it's all energy. Everything's an exchange of energy. And water especially is a very intelligent, living substance. Life water. So is the Word. The Word is, in a sense, living water, we could say. Very powerful vibration. There's a potential to shatter limitations. It's by being around it, you know what I mean? Anyways, focusing on the water, really giving it proper attention. Again, attention is key, going back to the ant. Giving the water proper attention before you consume it. Understanding that it's not a label, it's not water, it's a living substance. It's something that if we don't really know it, we can, say it's 2 hydrogen molecules and 1 oxygen molecule. Great, but what's a molecule? We can say that, we live on planet Earth. Great, but planet Earth lives in the solar system. And the solar system lives in the Milky Way galaxy. Milky Way galaxy lives in the multiverse. And the multiverse lives in, who the hell knows? What's beyond the multiverse? What's beyond that which we can perceive in the sky with our physical senses? What's beyond that? What's beyond this matter? And we can see that source intelligence as it expresses as the ant and as the water. And we can realize we are that. We're not only identified with that, but we feel it. We feel at one with it. At one with this intelligence as it expresses as the ant. Wow. The ant is not inferior. There's nothing superior, nothing inferior. It's all that. It's all that ant. Everything is intelligence. God is intelligence. This reality is fundamentally intelligence. We all have the aspect of our intelligence which yearns to seek. And a lot of us confuse that with seeking without seeking things in the world, accumulating certain things, and seeking status, and money, and being perceived by others in a certain way. I want to be perceived as a valuable person. Well, that's great, but at the end of the day, who really cares how others perceive you? Because if you don't feel that for yourself, you're going to, tonight when you go to bed, even if you're sleeping next to your wife, or sleeping next to your husband, or sleeping with your dog, or whatever, you're going to bed with yourself, your own subjective world. So if you don't feel that sense of value, that abundance within yourself, it doesn't really matter what the world thinks of you. It doesn't matter how the world perceives you. It doesn't matter about your status, your money, your material possessions, any of that shit that you can't take with you. Just temporary. That's why I really want to tune into our eternal subjective nature. Want to tune into our divinity. Sometimes mistakes, perceived errors can turn into something great. That's why it's not a mistake. There's no mistakes. You can't fundamentally make a mistake. I guess it could be, in a way, a mistake if you don't learn from it. Keep repeating the same mistake. So I think that Einstein or somebody said he very polarized the logical mind, right? Not really, didn't have that feminine energy alive, but was very brilliant intellectually. Explored that realm sufficiently. Well, realm of reason. However, it wasn't really, maybe didn't have his heart space open so much, or would have realized a hell of a lot more, and just mathematics. But anyways, I believe Einstein said something like, ignorance is making the same mistake over and over again and not learning from it. Something like that. And it's not verbatim. But anyways, most of what I say is, unless I mention it being from somebody else, somebody quoted it, it's really just kind of off top of the head, off the cuff. So again, we're getting up there in time. I know I've done this in several other videos too. I'm going to cut it off here and then I keep talking, another thought, another tangent, blah blah blah. Like I said, it's not planned, it's just happening, man. Shit, I had no idea. I thought it was going to be a quick video, honestly. But sometimes the Lord within me just wants to express through me, and I allow that to flow out of me. There's no resistance. Again, that water element is key. Non-resistance. It's a sense of harmony, a sense of bliss, and connectedness with the world. There's no sense of separateness. No separation. Something I'm going to keep mentioning. Love you guys. I'm going to keep mentioning that too. Because I really do. God bless. See you in the next. There really is no next, right? It's all now. You'd say there really is no now even. There's no now and then. Because again, that's a concept. And it's really something that you close your eyes and you feel and experience. And it's when you're there, you're not saying I'm here. You're not saying I'm here and now. I'm the eternal, whatever. It's beyond labels, it's beyond words, really. And we all yearn to discover that within ourselves. And certain practices can help us do this. Timeless, time-tested, proven practices, fasting, semen retention, meditation. Again, something I'm gonna keep mentioning. Not only because it rhymes, but because, I know what it's done for me. And I want to share it, quite frankly. So, anyways, it serves as that. And And that's how I serve. You know, we're all here serving in some way. Whether we think of ourselves that way, conceive ourselves that way or not, we're all serving something or somebody else. Got to think beyond ourselves. That's key. That's fundamental. That's really where you're going to find fulfillment. If you're not going to find fulfillment in, chasing worldly pleasure, you're going to find fulfillment in freedom. Freedom is beyond worldly desire. A lot of us are confused and think that freedom is to be found in fulfilling every worldly desire, to seeking every worldly desire and attaining this and acquiring that, and we can get lost in that rat race forever and ever and ever, lifetime after lifetime. Or we can transcend that sense of time and that going round and round in circles, and we can realize the true sense of freedom, which is right now. It's eternal. It's beyond that wheel of desire, we could say. There's a higher desire, something within us that yearns to seek in a different direction than that which is, we could say, in the external world. You want to let go of a sense of external authority, not allow the world to have dominion over us, control over us. We don't want to be enslaved to the world. We want to transcend it, but transcend it, realize that we are transcendent to it, the aspect of our intelligence, but at the same time, we want to remain connected to it and share ourselves with it. Ourselves with a small s, our personal selves, because we all have that individual aspect of personality, individuality. Again, that's something we cannot deny, no matter how much we realize that fundamental oneness. And we can compartmentalize these different aspects of the human experience as we gain a heightened degree of discernment through seeing clearly, through purification of the mind and body, which are one. You can't separate them. You cannot separate the mind and body. The body's an expression of mind. That's why body language tells you a lot more than verbal communication. It's one of the reasons I appear on here as I do. And I try to maybe be back up a little bit. As you can see the hands, because, body language says a lot. I'm very open dude. Nothing to hide. There's a video on here. Again, I'll put a link in the description. I gotta go back and watch this. Just for the sole purpose of saying all the videos that I'm putting in the description, just so I can make sure to do it. But this video is like talking about technology in the nervous system. One of the short videos. How there's nowhere to hide, really. A lot of people are so, we could say, trapped in the earthly reality, in that masculine, logical, analytical mind, that they really think that they're separate and that their thoughts are private, and that consciousness isn't eternally available. That, some people think that they're, again, their thoughts are private. Your thoughts are not private. But again, I'm not one to, intrude on somebody's subjectivity. Quite frankly, it's, that's, I'm not really interested in that. I'm interested in exploring my own subjectivity. I know fundamentally it's ultimately the same subjectivity, although it might be expressed differently in different forms and bodies, and it's such as the variety and the wonder of the human experience. We look up into the sky, that big blue wonder, something that we're under. Not that we're under, that really it's all around us. What is space? Of course, we're mostly empty space. Even modern science will tell you this. Wow, it seems physical, we seem like matter, but really, what is space? Wow, there's so many things, so many concepts that we can really delve deep into and help us transcend certain intellectual barriers, limitations, that illusions, confusions, as we go through the purification process, purifying the body-mind complex. Again, they're one. Purity, that's, I could say the word masters. Again, I don't want to, certain words can stimulate certain ideas in people's heads, but I could say all the great masters or all the great intellectuals or sages or saints or gurus or whatever the label, mystics, whatever. All these people really understood the importance of purity. Now that's a great one to leave it on, and I'll put a link in the description of that video too. Purity is the key. Purity is the key to everything. To eternal life, to joy, to knowledge, to bliss, to eternal life, to eternal intelligence. The more you purify yourself, the lighter you feel, the happier you become, the more joyful your experience. And as the impurity leads to fermentation, decay, and death, like I said at the beginning of the video, it's why it's to be serious. This is life or death out here. We want to take our human experience serious. And as impurity leads to fermentation, decay, and death, the more we purify ourselves, the lighter we feel, the happier and more joyous we become, because the light flows through us. The light, that cosmic intelligence, that cosmic energy flows to and through us more easily, more effortlessly, without non-resistance. It's effortless. There's always that sense of abundance when we live and operate and value purity internally. Yeah, 3 great words to live by. Great motto. Keep clean inside. And, we could look at the environment as an extension of our subconscious mind. Conscious mind, subconscious mind, superconscious mind. Again, that's a conceptual model. And just like looping back to the conceptual model of the different auras or bodies. Physical body, mental body, energy body, etheric body, bliss body. Different layers. Different sheets. Different sheets. And, obviously the physical body is in our mental body. You could say that all matter is really mind realized in the physical world. And through fasting, you realize that all matter is mind, really. There's no separateness. Again, the mind and the body are one. Something I'm passionate about. As you can see, as I breathe in and out, that's something I'm passionate about too, rhyming. Something becomes automatic, Really something, attention. Again, attention is key. Something you give sufficient attention to becomes second nature. I don't know why it's called second nature. It really should be called first nature. Because second nature means it's like, second to something. First means it's like, I don't know. Some sayings, Some cliches are very, when you really get to thinking about them, it's like, wow, that's very profound. But they're cliches because everybody says them, and a lot of people don't really think about it. It's just kind of like, they accept whatever their interpretation of it is, and don't think beyond that. That's why, again, we want to, exercise that intellectual aspect of our intelligence, and at the same time be in proper balance with the feminine, that free-flowing sense of non-resistance and abundance and effortless joy and bliss and easiness as we traverse this tangible reality and realize our earthly existence with a sense of harmony and bliss. We share that abundance naturally with the world, harmoniously. Again, I'm going to say harmony, because that's key. Attention is key. Certain things are key. Purity is key. Giving you a lot of keys, giving you a lot of information and data. I hope you enjoy it again. I'll say it again. I think Holy Trinity, right? Third time. If you like it, like, comment, subscribe. Shit, and I could say I'm going to end it here, and who knows, I might just keep talking. Might just keep flowing. Keep going. I don't even know what I be saying. I'm just playing, having a ball, the Earth's a big ball. Look at it floating in space. What is space? I don't know. Anyways, I love you guys. I think that's third time too. Serious. I'm serious. I'm sincere. Same damn time. Same damn time. Everything's at the same time. It's now, but again, now it's a concept and shit. Now we're having fun with it. We're not taking it so serious, right? We can go back and forth, to and fro. We can get really serious. I can throw on my running shoes right now and go outside and run a marathon. I can do that. We can shift consciously like that in a second, in an instant. We can go back and forth and be like, man, shit, we're just having fun, man. Relax. Chill out. It's all good. It's just a temporary human experience. You know, you're taking it so serious. Shit, man. Just relax a little bit, man. But then we can realize it really is life or death. Like, when you think about it, this is eternity. It's not something that happens when the body dies. When the body goes back to Mother Earth. Again, I'm going to reiterate that. Some people don't get it until that happens. They don't get it. You know, Anyways, I love you guys. I really do. I'm honestly going to end it here. It's over an hour now. See, that's more of a serious kind of staring then. Or feminine, kind of just all that primal sense of unity, harmony, connectivity, oneness, which is ultimately in abundance. There's no separateness. It's all that same intelligence. You know, the power of whispering. A lot of people want to be heard. A lot of chatter in the world. A lot of noise. It's good to discern between essence and appearance. The chatter of the world, the noise of the masses, and that which is emanating from this intelligence within us. There's a handful of us that are involved in some sort of creative endeavor. And some of us want to just regurgitate information that we may have heard and think we know it all, and you know, that's okay. But we want to understand the difference. Whispering, silence can help us do this. Crickets, do you hear them? I don't know if you can hear them. I love them. The mind's like a mirror, right? It simply reflects. It reflects that eternal silence and stillness. There's been several people on this channel that have commented saying, he doesn't blink. What's the deal with that? Well, that could be said to be an outward expression, or a lack of expression, lack of blinking, of that inner stillness, that which doesn't move on the surface. And just a thought, right? Who knows? You only know what's in our own experience. I'll leave it on this. For real this time. What is real time? Now.